Everyone, this is the Villains Man, and I'm JVD bringing you the comic book review over Amazing Spider-Man. Venom Returns. This trade paperback collects issues 330 through 333 and 344 through 347. It's essential to every Venom fan. You're getting the third and fourth story here that for Venom. Like I said, you're looking here within 47 issues. He's been around for almost half of them. So the character's gained a lot of popularity, and Marvel's really running him into the ground. But I mean, he's selling books, so I don't blame him. I mean, when I was a kid, when the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon was on Fox, and I knew who Venom was, but at my age, I really didn't grasp onto comics. I would read comics, and these were coming around. Soon he was getting his own mini series all the time, and that show really pushed me into the character. And where these stories aren't the greatest, it's just basically to keep him around while you making him look strong. Where Spider-Man can never physically beat him on his own. There's always some way to cause him to lose, and this first story, the first arc here, really kind of shows that. And like I said, these aren't the greatest stories. They're okay. I recommend them. Read them if you're any type of Venom fan. I'm sure with Spider-Man 3, there became a lot of fans. I'm sure with the Venom movie, there are a ton of fans now. The character has a lot of popularity. People are tracking these books down. They're rapidly always gaining value. But I'll get some spoilers here for issues 330 through 333. These books kind of go back and forth between a team up with the Punisher and then Eddie Brock escaping once again, as always. You figure by now someone would be find a very hardcore method of keeping him stabilized, but then again, I guess if Reed Richards couldn't keep him contained, well, technically he did until someone opened him up in the Alien Saga. But anyways, you figured someone would find a way to keep him contained completely so he cannot escape, because he always seems to. But basically, in issues 330 through 333, Punisher is tracking down some drugs, and Spider-Man winds up doing the same. There winds up being a team-up, and they wind up going to this military academy because they come to find out the U.S. drug army is pushing drugs. Eventually, the guy that they meet, he's a colonel, and he looks like Chase Bronson, Charles Bronson. Man, that's horrible. Chase Bronson is my guy from Rock Band. But anyways, it's kind of funny. They even make a joke about Death Wish while they're talking to him. I mean, he looks just like Charles Bronson. But it's pretty cool because Punisher, being the gun-toting crazy vigilante that he is just spraying everything. And he really doesn't care if he hits Spider-Man. And just to show you how fast and agile Spider-Man is, added with his spider sense. I mean, he doesn't get pegged once, and people are shooting Punisher shooting everybody. It just goes to show you how fast Spider-Man is. It's really depicted here really well in this. Anyways, they kind of find out that through this Charles Bronson-esque character that apparently cocaine's becoming standard for the country, and if you believe a lot of conspiracy theorists out there, a lot of people think that the country is now ran on drug money. So maybe that's some foreshadowing. Maybe it was back then and just someone was ahead of their time. Who knows? But anyways, during this, we also got some more storylines going on. Black Cat is now jealous over the relationship between Mary Jane and Peter. Since they're married now, she's been dating Flash to get back at him. She even shows up as Black Cat and threatens MJ, and to the point that she will kill her just to get Pete back. So that's some stuff here that's been going on. I mean, to the point where Pete is even trying to maybe make Flash realize that he's being used. But he really cares about him because Flash is a huge fan of Spider-Man, So, and he's not wanting him to be hurt over his superhero life. So, also Mary Jane is still being obsessed and kind of stalked by Jonathan Caesar, who before all these stories had kidnapped her and had turned her life of a high needed model, has blacklisted her. That's why in the story before this that I had reviewed for the birth of Venom, that her money had been tied up, and it is all due to this. Well, anyway, he's trying to get her back after he's been out of prison, and he winds up hiring Stick and Stone, who was created by Todd McFarlane early on, past in his run on Spider-Man, to go attack Pete because Pete had saved her while Jonathan Caesar had her. During this time, Brock has hung himself, and just fooling people so he can get out of prison. And it's pretty neat because it's a new power that is explained by the symbiote. And to quote him from here in the book, he says, "My alien comrade can emulate any substance, not just clothing. Thus it coated my entire body with a layer of synthetic skin without pulse, of course, while providing oxygen and nutrients directly from the air so that breathing would not give us away." So he has faked his death due to the symbiote. Just another really cool power that the symbiote has. And as he escapes, and he is still to the fact that he thinks that him making himself stronger physically without the suit will make the suit stronger. You really see that in the Venom stories. Before this, we see him pumping iron in his secret location, and here where he goes and has one himself, he's doing the same thing. So you're really starting to get a lot of really cool stuff that the symbiote can do, like the fight before this where he sent the tendrils under the ground in the second story arc with Venom. So you're really starting to see some of the stuff that the suit can do, and it's really cool. But anyways, Eddie comes looking for Pete. Aunt May lies about his location because Aunt May now realizes that Eddie Brock is a homicidal maniac named Venom, unlike she did last time. So she tells him that he's at the park, so Pete goes to meet him there. They have this all-out, drag-out fight while the park's busy, and you really start to see some of that protect the innocence Venom has started to show. Even when he was trying to escape and killing people, he really regretted killing innocent people. He was just trying to escape to exact his revenge on Spider-Man. But they have a fight, and you even get to see Venom save a drowning baby. But he leaves after saving the baby because the cops show up, and then Peter saves the baby and his parents as something explodes. But anyways, Sticks and Stone here, they've already attacked Pete once, but now they're going to shadow Venom during all this, knowing that Spider-Man will come looking for him. And they kind of go to his vault, this hideout here, and to track him down. Anyways, Venom shows up at Aunt May's house while Peter is there, and basically tells him where his hideout is and challenges him. And hopefully this will be the final encounter. Spider-Man takes him up on it, and I mean, he's furious that here Venom is, once again, walking straight up into Aunt May's house, full symbiote on, and stalking him, So he goes to the hideout, and they battle, and Stick and Stone show up, and if anything, they're two really lame characters. And anyways, Stone just happens to have Sonic loaded on him. If you don't know anything about the characters, Stone is a very tech-based character. He doesn't have any superpowers. He's usually got some cannons mounted to his shoulders. And the Sonic attacks are hurting Venom, which squares Stick off with him. Now, Sticks was, apparently he had some tests ran on him because he had cancer, and he became immune to his cancer, but his fingers are now claws, much like Lady Deathstrike, and they're very toxic to any organic material they touch. Basically, it gives them a cancer that rots and kills them within a matter of minutes. And during the fight, that is how they kill the symbiote in this. Sticks rakes Venom across the back and literally melts the symbiote from him. And Pete eventually winds up taking them out, and they all get locked up and get sent to Rikers by the end of this story. Like I said, it's not really cool. It's not a really good story like the previous Venom stories here in this one, but it is interesting to see that now the Venom suit is dead. This toxic touch has killed it. There's some really neat stuff in here, like I mentioned, just seeing Spider-Man's speed. We get to see Pete wear a Batman shirt. That's pretty cool. The one thing I don't get, I've mentioned this before during the Alien Saga thing, is I don't know why the symbiote is always being taken off like a piece of clothing, when clearly we've seen it being stretched between Pete and Eddie. We've seen the tendril thing. We've seen how it's a synthetic skin, but yet he still takes it off almost like it's a costume here, Eddie does. So that is just something I do not understand at all. But like I said, it's not the greatest story in the world. It's just a way to show Venom strong, keep him strong, so Pete really can't defeat him in a straight one-on-one fight. Now, in issues 344 and 347, is a far better story than this previous arc. We have the introduction of Cardiac. He's a very tech-based vigilante. Man, he's got vibranium weave. He's got this electrocuting like bow staff. He looks really cool, and growing up, he was probably one of my newer favorite characters in the Spider-Man series after Venom, and I really like the character. It really hasn't had the greatest run in Spider-Man stories, but really cool character. If you get a chance, check out his bio, check out his gear. Really cool character. They should do more with him. But anyways, him and Spider-Man want to cross some paths and realize they have a lot in common. And they're going to take down some drug manufacturers. And this kind of ties in, I guess, maybe to a degree with the story beforehand where Spider-Man and Punisher were tracking down drug runners. But it all leads to a Saberdyne compound where Cardiac and Spider-Man get a tangle with Rhino. And then after defeating him and whatnot, they wind up going to a cargo ship. And all these drugs are usually having chemicals used in making cocaine. And there they cross paths with Boomerang, who isn't powerful enough to stop both of them as Cardiac sinks the ship with his staff. Really cool stuff. You should check it out. During this time, we get to see Brock on the raft, and he's sitting there working out. And we also get the introduction of Cletus Cassidy, who's a homicidal maniac who's been sitting in the prison with him, and he doesn't seem to bother Brock too much, but he really gets on Brock's nerves. Brock's even makes mentions of killing him before he escapes himself. So there's already a hatred building there, but eventually the symbiote bursts in and saves Brock. So you're kind of shocked because the symbiote was killed by Styx in the Venom arc before this. So you've already curious as a fan, why is the symbiote back? Apparently it was destroyed. But also doing this, Silver Sable, a newer character, probably been around since mid 250 issues, somewhere around there maybe, is putting out ads, not odds, contacting Spider-Man, and that is kind of odd. But I guess if you want Spider-Man's attention, it's kind of the best way to do it because all he does is swing around New York City. Well, anyways, Brock winds up running into Pete at a diner, and he basically tells him the symbiote went into a comatose state when attacked by Styx cancer and had to heal itself. Which, in a sense, would make sense if you go back to the way Spider-Man beat Venom the first time, where he kept using basically the symbiote up with all the webbing and whatnot. So, in a way, that kind of makes sense. But it also goes to show you just how powerful the symbiote is, its regeneration abilities, because it does regenerate the wearer. Before this, he did escape, and it was allowing him to breathe. So, like I said, another really cool power that this symbiote has, as we're learning as fans what it's capable of. But, anyways, they're going to have a fight. And eventually it's going to come soon. Brock's teasing it. And it's so bad that Peter thinks this might be it, and he might die, and he sends MJ away. Well, he's shadowing Brock, and he learns something very interesting, that the symbiote doesn't have a spider sense like him. So that kind of puts them on even playing terms. Neither one of them can detect when the other's around. It's just a matter of getting the advantage on each other. Well, anyways, Pete gets a call from a Professor Swan about needing his input on cryogenics. They have some breakthroughs. And Pete gets pretty excited about when he realizes he can literally freeze Venom and be done with him. So on his way there, he's chased by Venom. And there's a knockout brawl all the way through New York City to the center. And eventually Pete winds up losing Venom, and he finds the place empty. Come to find out, this was all set up by Eddie Brock. The Professor Swan thing, the cryogenics chamber here, was true, but the funding had ran out, so it was shut down, and he captures Spider-Man, freezes him. And he takes him to an island for their final encounter. And this is a knockout, drag-out fight, much like the very first fight in 300. So if you want to check that issue out, go ahead and check out my review on the Alien costume saga. But we also see some more cool tricks here with the symbiote. We get the sand trick again, like they had on the Beach in the Venom Returns series. We get to see the Venom symbiote do camouflage, as it camouflages with the water as Pete dives in the water. It also camouflages with the sand on the beach to trick Spider-Man. Anyways, he winds up finding out that this island was abandoned, Pete does, because of gas in the mines. So he winds up tricking Venom into believing that he was dead. So they have a fight, and he winds up seeing Venom and Eddie Brock warming himself. And he takes one of the logs, makes Venom chasing, the mine blows up, and he has put his suit, tattered pieces of it, on a skeleton he had found on the island. And so Brock, thinking he has finally defeated Spider-Man, decides to stay on the island. And Pete had realized that there was shipping lanes not too far from the island, and has swim out to a boat and hitch his ride back to New York. So this has got a really, really good fight. It's pretty awesome that Venom had wound up tricking Pete. That's something that how he tricked him and how he caught him was very clever. You really don't get to see that a lot with any of Spider-Man's villains, so it's pretty funny. The fight with Venom on the island kind of brings some questions. You see Spider-Man shooting web lines to trees? Trees. Maybe 30-foot tall trees. How does that work in a jungle? Even on an island. I mean, you could say the classic joke with Spider-Man fans or even Marvel fans, like, where does the web line go? Even when he's on an island, where does it go? There's no tall buildings nowhere around. And that happens quite often in this book. There's also something that's really neat, and one of these things I've kind of picked at through all the books is you always see the symbiote as a suit, like it's clothing, pants, shirt, whatnot. Here, you don't. When Pete sees Venom around the campfire, and that's where you can see I did to blow the mine, you actually see the symbiote away from Brock, like it's hanging back off him because the fire hurts it. So that's really neat. Because you can't show nudity in comic, it's always funny when the symbiote comes off somebody because Brock's sitting there in his tidy whities. So that just kind of shows you the age of the book. And it's kind of funny. But yeah, this is a really good story. These last two issues in this book, 346, 347, are really known for their covers, because this is where you really start to get the all crazy teeth with Venom through his evolution, and kind of like what he was known for when people picture him, with all the green slime, the crazy teeth everywhere, the really long tongue, and you really kind of get this in these two covers in these books, and they're really cool covers. I kind of wish McFarlane was drawing them, because at this time, through both these arcs, he has been off of Spider-Man for quite a few issues now. But yes, this part of the story way much better than issues 330 through 333. But if you get a chance, get them and read them. But I'm JV for the Villains Man. This has been my review for Amazing Spider-Man Venom Returns. Keep reading, guys.